Yo, 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 what is the deal, everybody? What is the deal? Welcome to another Raider Nation Unlimited live on location from the Dirty South. Salute to everybody in the chat. Get wasted with your brother wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We have a lot of news to get into, right? You know, John Spytek, man. You know, a lot of things were said at the combine. The combine is going on this week. We'll be covering all of that. Want to get into some of the stuff that happened with him, Maxx, all of these guys. We want to get into some of the things he spoke about with Fernando Mendoza. I know there's a lot of you who have probably heard this already, but it doesn't matter. You haven't heard my take yet. So listen, get wasted with your brother wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this thing out to all social media. And listen, you guys know how we do over here. We do not cook unless there's over 100 in the room. So share this thing out. I mean, my God, what the F is going on around here? Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute, man. But man, yo, I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff to be hopeful for. There is a lot of stuff to be hopeful for, man. And we got over 100 in the room. Get wasted with your brother wasted. But yo, we have a lot to talk about, man. I mean, you know, John Spytek, you know, went out there today, and to be real with you, he really, you know, kind of poured some cold water on some of the things that you know, the people have been talking about, right? He spoke about Fernando Mendoza. We're gonna break it down. Listen, if Bodega's in the chat, somebody please send him to the gulags for no less than a minute. We you know, he hasn't done anything just yet, but he knows what time it is. Let me give my shout out to salutations to Kylo Ren Raider, Mark Salter, my guy, man, Raider Ryan, Raider Bubba, Martin from way across the pond. Ayo Anthony is in the place as usual. Nada is in the place, man. I mean, guys, we have a damn good show for you today. So look, let's get into the Spytek stuff. You know, John Spytek today, and I noticed the one thing that a lot of people are kind of sick of talking about, but Spytek spoke on Maxx Crosby, and there were a lot of questions. You know, everybody wanted to ask the general manager to speak on Crosby. It's the first time he spoke publicly in a while, right? And at the scouting combine, you know, he kind of delivered one of the cleanest messages I've heard on the whole Spytek thing. You know, if I'm being 100% with you, it is one of the clearest and cleanest messages I've seen so far. And to be real with you, yo, listen, I personally really mess with that. You know what I'm saying? The fact that, you know, Spytek felt compelled to address it, you know what I mean? It's something for me that, look, man, I'm definitely cool with, right? Do I think he's telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth? No. I think that there are certain things that GMs got to keep under their hat. I think that, you know, he has to put his intentions out there, and he has to let people know that, listen, man, we're not trying to move this guy. So listen, if you are going to get Maxx, it is going to have to be a king's ransom. And that's pretty much, you know, what I got from it. But, you know, and I quote, you know, the Raiders GM called Crosby elite, man. And he says that he is confident in the fact that Maxx is staying. You know, Spytek kind of reinforced that stance, and he called Crosby a core piece of the Raiders build off of the 3-win season, you know. And listen, man, you know, he says Maxx is an elite player, and I've been very upfront from the start when I got here that we're in business of having really good players on the team, and we need a lot more of them. And Spytek said, and you know, it's hard to build a great team without elite players. Spytek also described steady communication with Crosby and pointing to Crosby's presence around the team while rehabbing. Maxx and I have a great relationship. He's been in the building every day, healthy, getting healthy right now. We talk on the phone, we text. So I have a great relationship with Maxx, Spytek said. He also was asked about Super Bowl week reports and whether he is comfortable where Crosby's head is as far as staying in Vegas. He goes, Maxx and I have great conversations. I'm comfortable there. Yes, Spytek said. Spytek still did not label Crosby as untradeable. And I think that would be the thing that would be the pinnacle note in kind of putting this to bed, right? When the topic turned directly to whether the Raiders would entertain calls, he says, right, we're always listening, man. So look, to me, right there, nothing was really put to rest. Nothing was really put to rest. And that's what I mean. I think that the ball is in Max's court. And I think that for the court of public opinion and for the sake of, from a bargaining perspective, right? You got to put it out there. This is a guy that you want to keep. And for you to come and to entertain anything to pull him away from the Raiders is going to take a whole hell of a lot. So don't even call asking if you're not willing to back up the Brinks truck. He had some discussions around Jackson Powers Johnson. He addressed that, and he said Jackson Powers Johnson can line up as, where the Raiders plan to line him up at. He asked whether Jackson Powers Johnson will play center or remain at guard. Spytek said, whoever the best five are, that'll be out there. He added, I love Jackson. It said he had a hard season for a lot of different reasons and noted he's healthy now. Spytek said that the staff will sort out the best alignment with the head coach, Kubiak, and Rick Dennison and offensive line group. And with the Raiders holding the number one pick, that John Spytek, is really outlining everything that he needs to protect his quarterback. So, a salute to over 200 in the room. Get wasted to your brother wasted, man. Raider Dolph says, salute to the best thing since Redman to come out of New Jersey, man. Appreciate you, my dog. Salute to my guy, Raider Dolph, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And listen, nope, like my man, Raider Larry said, nobody's untradeable. I believe that's all he's saying. I don't see Maxx going anywhere. I mean, I don't see this is the thing, right? And we've been talking about this like almost every episode. And, it's kind of like I almost have to talk about it, right? I kind of hate the fact that I am talking about it. But look, the thing is this, bro. The dude is not going to show his hand. And if we're being honest here, it's really up to Maxx. It's not like, the team was actively shopping him. He's the one who had whatever issues he had. He's the one who put stuff on social media. And he's the one who has people that are either with his camp or lightly connected to his camp that put this out there. This was not a situation where, the Raiders were actively shopping him behind his back. That's not what's going on. So he's not going to show his hand, man. And that's what a good GM does. He leaves the door open. Salute to my God, Anthony. Spytek's not going to show his hand. Come on now. He could be plotting a trade and Maxx wouldn't know about it. And that's factual, man. Salute to my brother Top Beats in the place to be. My guy Bo Rock is in a place, man. What's up, brother Wasted? I love how the Raiders are being really smart about their decisions right now. Yeah, man, it feels like a real football team, right? I kind of feel a little like Mike Ditka right now. Remember Mike Ditka when he was the coach of the Saints? Said, we became a team. We became a team. I'm starting to feel that way right now, man. Yo, I mean, look, man. It was a lot going on, right? When you talk about John Spytek, the one thing that I got from Spytek today that I love, man, was the fact that he is all business, man. He's all business, and his approach is a lot clearer than the approach of other people that have been here previously, right? It's a clean approach. He's no nonsense. He answers questions really well. He doesn't paint himself into a corner, and it's very, very refreshing, man. Very refreshing. Now, this is his second offseason in a row. He has a lot of holes to fill in his roster, right? And this draft kind of presents a better opportunity for the Raiders because of how high they're going to be picking in these drafts, right? Like last season, the Raiders got it right. We picked sixth. We picked up Ashton Genty. We got some young, talented players that we need to see develop. I love how Spytek spoke about Caleb Rogers too. I love that. I love what I'm hearing from that kid. I'm expecting Caleb Rogers to be a starter next year. And listen, he explained, although the Raiders desperately need a quarterback, there's a difference between selecting based on need versus best player available. And luckily, the Raiders will get the best of both, man, from what I'm concerned. Because, listen, when you start talking about positional value, right, you could have a guy like, say, for instance, Caleb Downs, ranked as the top guy off the board in the draft, right? But for positional value, Fernando Mendoza, if you got him as your third or fourth best guy in the draft and he's a quarterback, that automatically makes him the best player on the board. And it's like, you know, I'm loving, you know, some of what John Spytek spoke about as well when he started talking about what he's looking for in a quarterback. You know, I mean, it pretty much sounds like he's talking about Fernando Mendoza, man. Seriously. Salute to everybody in the chat. Get wasted with your brother wasted, man. Look, this is going to be a quick one today, guys. This is going to be a quick one today. This is going to be a quick one, man, because I got to start packing up and trying to get back to the home front. Everybody feels the change. The whole team's mindset is focused, direct, no lies. Fans like Ziegler or Telesco. Look, I don't think Telesco was lying to anybody. I just think that Tom Telesco was in a situation where he came in and probably didn't feel like, you know, he had the coach that he wanted. He didn't have a QB he wanted. There was a weird feeling around the organization. And, you know, Tom Telesco just seemed like he was a guy who was a placeholder. You know, now that I look back on it, maybe that could be revisionist history, right? David Ziegler was a GM that I think Ziegler was a good GM. And I just think that David Ziegler, you know, didn't have final cut. And if you don't have final cut as a GM, it's very, very hard to build a team and your image. It's very, very hard for you to say anything, right? When you have a coach or the owner or anybody that's going to come on and not allow you to build this thing the way you see fit. Salute to my guy Bodega, home from the gulags, fresh out the gulags, fresh out the pack. Salute to my go Joey Cheek with the $20 slap-a-room, man. The $20 bomb, man. I mean, the first super my dog, man. Can you tell Spytek is all ball? How he handles some of these dumbass questions over and over. We're finally becoming a top-notch organization. Listen, you know, when people heard that the Raiders were picking John Spytek, everybody around the league said it's a phenomenal hire. You know, John Spytek was the Ben Johnson of Clint Kubiak of GMs. Let's just make no mistake about that. He was the number one guy, you know, that was going to be a GM in this league. He was the guy. And we wound up with him, and we are very, very lucky for that. And I just by the way that he answered things today goes to show you what kind of guy he was. Now, listen, man, when, you know, Graphic was at the combine, you know, the year before, he was at the Senior Bowl, you know, he was telling me how much people around the National Football League really, 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 you know, lauded John Spytek. And I think we're starting to see that move of the Raiders bringing in him, you know, paying dividends. Salute everybody in the chat. Salute to my guy Graf, man. Says stupid ass questions. Yeah, man. Look, there was some of that too. You know, I listened to the Peanut Gallery. You have a lot of people who are down there. You have some guys that are new media. You have some established media guys, right? And I'm gonna be real. You know, I think that when you have a chance to ask the GM questions, right, you got to make sure that you're prepared and that it's shrouded in reality. You know, but listen, man, it is what it is, man. And this is the thing, you know, John Spytek spoke about Harry Roseman too. They brought Harry Roseman up today. And, you know, look, if Spytek learned anything from Harry Roseman, we're in good shape here. We are in good shape. Coach said, yo, the questions be dumb as fuck. Yeah, man, listen, bro. I mean, look, there are a lot of people that want to do this, right? And they want to do it for the fact because they want to get you the news. They want to bring you the best possible, you know, knowledge on the team. They want to represent the Shield in a certain way as far as from a content perspective. And then you have some others who are just trying to go viral, right? So you got to kind of sift through that. And I'm not here to criticize anybody, right? Like, because if you're there and you're putting that investment into your career and you're at the combine, then listen, hey, man, hey, salute to you. Salute to you, man. You know, but look, man, there was a lot of stuff going on, man. I mean, listen, on a week in and week out basis, man, I hear guys like Hondo Carpenter, you know, and I hate mentioning, you know, guys on my show, right? But you have guys like that a lot of times some of the things that I see him do with his platform and as far as how he represents, you know, his potential questions and some of the news he puts out there and stuff, the way some of that comes off to me, it really seems really manufactured, and it really seems to be something to where it makes what we do look bad. You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion, right? But salute to that guy. But look, man, let me get back to it, right? You know, so look, the main thing that I got from the Spytek situation is this: the way that he lauded Fernando Mendoza. We had definitely drafted Mendoza. We all kind of knew that. The circle on the Maxx Crosby thing, to me, has not been closed. You know, I mean, it's just that's clear, man. You know what I mean? To me, it's just, you know, if you really listen to what he's saying, that we're always listening. The fact that he didn't just shut everything down really lets you know everything you need to know. You guys know how football is. You know how this game is played. You know how things go around the combine, and I think that there are going to be a lot of discussions that are being had around the league when it comes to this, man. I'm going to be real with you guys, man. When you start talking about, you know, Fernando Mendoza, man, they asked the Jets GM about whether he reached out to the Raiders, and he reached out to John Spytek, and he pretty much all but said that he feels like the Raiders are definitely going to take Fernando Mendoza. You know, I'm pretty sure he's been told no a time or two. So, you know, but look, man, the whole organization, bro, if you could see exactly, you know, where we're going, we are going in that direction, man. And when they were asked about what kind of quarterback or what they're looking for in a quarterback, you know, John Spytek said they're looking for a leader, tough as hell, loves to play football, a maniacal preparer, a selfless person. I mean, he's pretty much describing Fernando Mendoza, man. I'm gonna be real with you, man. He's pretty much describing Fernando Mendoza, man. And look, you know, he was asked, you know, about his quarterback taking snaps under center or stuff like that. But I think it's a foregone conclusion, right? And there's listen, to be honest with you, this is a one quarterback race, and in a way where, you know, as far as the Raiders are concerned. But you know, there are other guys out there that, you know, I'm going to be looking for at the combine. Like I want to take a look at, you know, guys like Nussmeier. I want to take a look at Drew Allar. I want to take a look at guys like Ty Simpson. You know what I mean? I want to take a look at all these guys, man. I mean, that's the most exciting thing about the combine, man. But you know, Brian Kaz spoke about the Raiders. What I need to do is, yeah, Brian Kaz spoke about the Raiders. I wanted to pull that up for you guys. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hold on. Let me get this thing going here, man. Being on location, man, is a little tough, man.
I talk to Spytek and those guys often, as I do with other teams. Talk about moving up, moving back. Absolutely, we'll talk about all those things, but I don't think that's happening. You could ask Spytek though.
Yeah, so that was the Jets GM speaking about whether the Jets are going to move up to get Fernando Mendoza. I'm pretty sure that's already got cold water poured all over it. My guy, JME Boy 87. Wait, what's good, Wasted? Hope you're having a good day. Honest question. Do you want us to trade Maxx, or do you want us to keep him? I need a yes or a no. Not depending on what we get. I'll sit back and listen. I can't give you a yes or a no, bro, because look, this is a fluid situation. Can't give you a yes or a no. Like, if I get a motivated Maxx Crosby that wants to be on the Raiders and that wants to ball out, and they get somebody and they have a really good draft and they go on free agency and they outfit that defensive line with talent that'll take the pressure off of him and, you know, to make him a little more productive, then why would I not want a player that's a top 5 guy at his position, right? But also, I can see the value in them getting rid of him. I can see it, bro. So it's all fluid, bro. Like I don't want to keep him if he wants out. If he unequivocally wants out and he's being difficult and being a jerk and stuff like that, then, you know, to be honest with you, I don't need that. But, you know, the longer this goes, the more I am leaning towards, hey, just cut your losses and get what you can get. And to be honest with you, man, it really depends on what they get. Like if they walk away with 1 first rounder and like a player, I'm gonna be upset because to me that's not enough. That you know what I'm saying? To me, that's not enough. And listen to me, you don't ever, and I mean ever, tell the great and powerful wasted talent what the F to do, or you will be unceremoniously blocked. This is a dictatorship over here. This is not a democracy. Now, F up out of here. My God, JME boy. Let me be clear. I want to keep Maxx. If we trade Maxx, it's going to be another Khalil Mack situation. It might not be. Right? Like, yo, the Khalil Mack situation was what it was, right? But the Khalil Mack situation really could have rebuilt the Raiders for the next 10 years had they drafted properly. If you look at some of the guys that the Raiders passed up on, the ones that they selected, I think that the Raiders would have won the Khalil Mack trade in spades. And to be honest with you, you know, the fact that they got Josh Jacobs out of that kind of makes it kind of a wash. But if you walk away with a king's ransom, you know, then I say, hey, trade him. I say, hey, trade him. If you walk away with 2 firsts and 2 seconds and a third, you got to do what you got to do, because you can really, especially with a GM like John Spytek, I am never I'm never under the estimation of valuing picks over great players. I am not that guy, right? But I'm just looking at a timeline perspective. I'm looking at, you got a rookie quarterback. You got a Brock Bowers that needs to be paid, but he's on a rookie deal. You got Ashton Genty's in his second year on a rookie deal. You got, a lot of young players that are on his roster. The timelines might not be matching up, right? And by the time Maxx gets to a place, or this team gets to a place where they can really contend for a championship, Maxx might be over the hill, and he might want to move on. He might want to move on, man. He might want to move on. But I'm gonna be real with you, man. It is a very fluid situation for me. It's a fluid situation for me. But yeah, man, listen, like I told you guys, man, I am very excited about what's going on here, man. I really am. I'm excited, man, whether they keep Maxx or whether they don't. I'm excited. Because look, we got guys in the building that you could depend on. You got guys in the building that know what they're doing. These are football guys. Everybody up and down this damn roster, man. Everybody. I mean, listen, when we start really thinking about this, right? When we really start thinking about this, you got to ask yourself, have you ever been in a situation as a Raider fan where you saw the Raiders really in a real way tear everything down to the ground and really build it up? I can't say that I've ever seen the Raiders really do that. Like, when they got Mack and they got Carr, they kind of tried to, but there were a lot of things that, they were trying to make work. But this is the first time in a long time, man, probably damn near 20 years, that they really tore everything down to the ground. I mean, what is going on, man? Us drafting Jacobs don't make up for how bad the rest of the picks are. Yeah, it doesn't, right? But it wasn't a total wash because it didn't work out for Chicago either. It didn't work out for Chicago either. Everybody pay your bar tabs. Get wasted with your brother wasted, man. Get them likes up too, man. Get them likes up, man. This is a very slow motion Raider Nation Unlimited, guys. Very slow motion Raider Nation Unlimited, man. Some more things coming out of the combine, and this has nothing to do with the Raiders just yet. Kirk Cousins has been released. He's going to be released. The GM for the Falcons made that announcement, and I'm gonna be real with you, man. Kirk Cousins, you know, hearing what John Spytek said about, you know, if they draft a young quarterback, you know, them not wanting to start him day one. You know, look, I can definitely see a world where the Raiders go out there and bring a guy like Kirk Cousins in, man. Seriously. I can definitely see it, man. I can definitely see it, man. Because listen, you know, Kirk Cousins will be coming off the scrap heap, cut. He's already made a crap load of money. You know, Ian Cunningham told reporters on Tuesday the team will release the veteran quarterback once the new league year officially begins next month. And he already told Cousins about the team's decision. And I'm going to be real with you. When you start talking about Kirk Cousins, I can see him in Minnesota, right? Because, you know, J.J. McCarthy, it doesn't really look like that's really working. You know, I don't think they want to give up just yet. I can see Kirk Cousins coming here. Some of the best years he's had was under Clint Kubiak. That's something that I can see happening. And look, you got to have more than one quarterback in the quarterback room. I'm going to be 100% real with you. Now, this is the thing, man. You know, Cousins played 10 games. He started 8 of them. And in his 24 games under center with the Falcons, Cousins threw for 28 touchdowns, 21 picks, 65% completion percentage, and 5,000 yards. The interceptions kind of worry me a little bit, but, you know, he is an older guy that can kind of show Fernando Mendoza, you know, what's downtown. And he's a guy that, listen, if he starts playing bad, you could sit him down and you could put the young fella in about week 4 or 5. Seriously, I can definitely see Kirk Cousins being somebody that the Raiders would think in. Now, you know, and listen, everybody says hell to the no, but I'm gonna be real with you, man. To me, I don't see any reason why, you know, you wouldn't want to have a guy that has started in this league, and you know that if you bring him in, he can win some football games. My guy Todd Beast, I don't see Cousins coming here unless he's ready to lay down in year 2. I think Cousins still believes he can start for a team. I mean, Todd, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't. I think Kirk Cousins understands that he can play, but I think that no franchise in the National Football League is gonna, you know, give him the keys strictly to the kingdom. But I think those days are over for Kirk Cousins, and I think he understands that. You know, he was willing to go to Atlanta, you know, and then they drafted Michael Penix. They kind of Pearl Harbored him a little bit. I think he thought that was going to be his job. But, you know, I know that Kirk Cousins is not delusional. I know he still feels like he can win. But I think that he understands that for him to continue to play football, he has to be open to the prism of not being a starter all the time. Salute to my guy, Indiana Raider, by way of Cicero. Salute to my brother, member for 20 months of the Wasted Talent Army, man. At ease, man. Appreciate you, my brother. Now, look, I mean, there are other guys out there, right? Like, you know, there have been, you know, there are a lot of people in my chat that are talking about, you know, Malik Willis and guys like that. Look, I don't see the Raiders going out there and getting somebody like that. But what I definitely feel is this, right? I feel like the Raiders do definitely need an upgrade from Aiden O'Connell. You can't go out there, you know, even if you don't start Fernando Mendoza day 1, right? You can't go out there and start a guy like Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell kind of puts you in a space where, you know, you're behind the 8 ball already. Like if you start the season off not starting Mendoza, you are looking to turn this thing around by winning. You know, nobody is trying to tank. You're trying to win every game because you've already located your young quarterback and you're trying to make an environment that where he can turn this thing around. You know, so I don't see any freaking way that, you know, the Raiders don't go out there and bring in another veteran quarterback, right? But then the same thing is too, when you bring in a young vet, right? That young vet is trying to fight for his space out there in this world. He's trying to fight for his space starting somewhere, right? And I think that a guy like Cousins, that's a little long in the tooth, that has things that are tangible to offer, if he is willing to mentor a guy like Fernando Mendoza, along with Brady being in the building. I think that's the perfect scenario for a guy like a guy like Mendoza. I think Mendoza's a sponge. I think he's a humble kid, and I really think he's the kind of kid that could really benefit to having that veteran tutelage, man. I really do, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to my guy Nada, man. Macaroni. Salute, man. Kirk or Flacco, the mentor. I would prefer Kirk, man. And I think Kirk Cousins' personality more aligns with Mendoza, if I'm being real, right? Like I think Mendoza, he's a guy that when I compare, Fernando Mendoza, he's one of the guys, right? Salute to my guy. After selecting Mendoza and knowing that the Ravens just threw the highest paid O lineman at Linderbaum, what is your opinion on getting the best center in the second round? Listen, I am 100% on board for that, especially because we don't know whether Jackson Powers-Johnson can be the kind of center that the Raiders need in this zone blocking scheme. You got to go out there and really, really call out the defense. I think JPJ does have that ability. There are a lot of people who don't. I just think that it was a badly coached team last year, but it's nothing wrong by bringing in another young guy. Competition for real is a good thing. So if you go out there and you go get a Logan Jones or you'll get a Jake Slaughter or a guy like that, you don't necessarily have to get them in the second round. You can get guys like that in the third and the fourth round as well. You really, really can. But I would love to see the Raiders go out there and address the center in the draft early, because the center is low key the most important piece besides the left tackle on the offensive line, man. And look, I like JPJ, but I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket, right? I think JPJ can get the job done. I think that JPJ can be just as good as Creed Humphrey. I really do. I think Creed Humphrey's probably the pick of the litter when you talk about centers in the National Football League. But when you talk about JPJ, I think JPJ, from a physical standpoint, definitely can do the job, right? From a mental standpoint, we shall see, right? I think a lot of that was Brennan Carroll. We went over this yesterday. But another thing about Jackson Powers-Johnson that is concerning to me is that he has a history of head injuries. Right. And you want your center to be a guy like Rodney Hudson that plays almost every freaking game. So that center to quarterback exchange is not off. Real rap. And then you're in a situation where your guard positions, you lit. You can go out there and go get you a right tackle or something like that. But your guard positions, especially if Caleb Rogers can be the kind of player I think he can be, if you can have Rogers and JPJ, you got one hell of an athletic line. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. Caleb Rogers is athletic, man. He's athletic, and I saw tape of him, back when he was in college, pulling from the right tackle, and getting upfield, and that's what kind of lineman that you need. Salute to my guy Dave Walker in the place, man. Salute to my guy Wavy in the place too, man. I mean, Carson Wentz. Look, I like Carson Wentz, bro, but I don't know if Carson Wentz can still. If you needed Carson Wentz to win you 4 or 5 games, I don't know if Carson Wentz still has that. I like the idea of what Carson Wentz used to be and what he is now are two totally different things. I really don't know if Carson Wentz will get it done at this level, man. I don't, right? But he is a guy who has started at a high level in this league. It all depends on exactly how healthy Carson Wentz is and how much Carson Wentz is bought in on football. Like, Carson Wentz is a guy that, for some reason, it doesn't seem like football is his main priority. It never was. Like, it seemed like after he got hurt, he was a different guy. It seemed like after he got hurt, he was a different guy, man. It really did, man. Hug These Nuts said, yo, Caleb Rogers hasn't missed a day in the building since the end of the season. That's the kind of dedication you need. A lot of people like to do a lot of lip wrestling and talking what they going to do and how they want to get better, and then they never do it. Like, the fact that this kid is in a building like that, he showed up for the new head coach. This kid is hungry, bro. He wants his job. He wants his spot. He worked his ass off last year, and I think that, Pete Carroll and Brennan Carroll did him a disservice. They did that boy wrong, man. That I think that kid should have started probably at least 8 to 9 games last year, even more than that. I think they did that kid wrong, man. And I don't think Seattle would be agreeable to getting rid of Jalen Milroe. And no, why would the Raiders trade for Jalen Milroe when they're drafting Fernando Mendoza? If they're going to bring in a backup, I think they're going to bring in a backup that has had experience. Like, why would you want a backup on a roster who has no experience, just like Fernando Mendoza? You know, that doesn't make any sense. You want somebody in that quarterback room that has some experience. You want somebody in that quarterback room that could remove obstacles from a lot of these guys. That's what you need, man. And listen, Jack Besh was out there today too. Jack Besh, from what I understand, you know, Jack Besh has been getting it in too. I think a lot of people that, you know, are saying that, you know, this draft class was bad last year. A lot of these guys, man, are going to pan out. I like their moxie. I like Charles Grant. I like Caleb Rogers. I like Jack Besh. I like Dante Thornton Jr., bro. I like these guys. I'm telling you, I think these guys are going to, I think John Spytek is going to look really, really good after this next season coming up. Because he's going to be 2 draft classes in with guys that he drafted, man. But, you know, like when we start talking about this quarterback room, you have to bring in some experience, man. You have to. And that's one of the reasons why keep an eye on the Kirk Cousins situation, because Kubiak and Cousins, you know, really, really had a great season together. They had a very great season together, man. And he's a guy that Clint Kubiak knows, he trusts. A lot of times, you know, when you talk about the league, man, the league is really made up of a lot of relationships. A lot of relationships. A lot of relationships. But, yo, let me tell you something. You know, Clint was Kurt's quarterback coach 2019 to 2020. And he later was the offensive coordinator in 2021. And, you know, they have a strong relationship, man. Strong relationship. And Kurt has some very, very productive seasons under Clint Kubiak, man. He really, really did, man. He really, really did, man. Let me get up some of them Kirk Cousins stats, man, from that year. Kirk Cousins absolutely balled out, man. He balled out, man. So, you know, in 2021, he played 16 games. He threw for 4,200 yards. He had 33 touchdowns, 7 picks, had a 66.3% completion percentage, 103 passer rating, 115 rushing yards, and he lost 2 fumbles that year. So Kirk Cousins had a hell of a year playing with Clint Kubiak, man. He really did. And I'm going to be 100% real with you, man. You know, and even, you know, the previous year, he started 16 games. He had 35 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 4,200 yards. Started all 16 games. Started all 16 games, man. So that was a nice little tandem when they were together, man. Oh, so you watch tape of Dominic Orange, huh? He reminds you of Chester. He reminds me of Chester McLaughlin, too. Everybody's been killing me for taking him. I took him yesterday in my mock, David Walker. Will you let these bums know how good Dominic Orange could be? Could you please let these bums know, man? I mean, look, the difference between, you know, Pete Carroll and Clint Kubiak is night and day. You know, Pete Carroll was a man who was sitting on his couch and teaching, you know, classes and stuff at USC and just came out of retirement. Clint Kubiak was just in the Super Bowl. Clint Kubiak is actively making quarterbacks better. So to me, that relationship to me is a lot stronger. And then it's a different situation, right? Because if Kirk Cochains comes out there and say the Raiders are 1-3, and then, you know, week 5, they're ready to bring in Mendoza, right? Then we're okay with that. We're all right with that. We don't need Kirk Cochains to come here and light it up. We need him to be a good placeholder and be a good mentor. Now, would it be great if, you know, Kirk Cousins balls out and then we have a situation like the Chiefs had with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes? That would be a phenomenal situation. Like, a lot of people forget how Alex Smith had them in the playoffs while Mahomes was waiting in the wings. And then we saw how good Mahomes could be at the end of the season. And then when he came in the next season, he just hit the ground running. He hit the ground running, man. And yo, listen, man, I'm gonna be real with you guys. They're talking about Jack Bech going to be at the State of the Union address. Salute to Jack Bech. I think that they're talking about what happened with his brother Tiger, who was murdered down in New Orleans. Salute to Jack Bech. And I don't want to get into any political stuff here because that's not what we do here on Raider Nation Unlimited. But being real, man, I think Jack Bech is a guy that has a lot of intentional fortitude. I think that he is going to be a stud in this league. I really do. I have a lot of faith in Jack Bech. I think the way he works and his skill set, how tough he is, his size, his strength, Jack Bech is going to be a problem, guys. He really, really is. Now, listen, there are some reports out there talking about some free agents because of how much money the Raiders have that could be brought in, right? And one of the biggest free agents, and this is somebody that your brother Wasted brought up first, is Alec Pierce. Now, this is the thing, right? I can see the Alec Pierce situation happening, right? Look, the Raiders can kind of look to upgrade their receiving room, bringing in their rookie quarterback, man. And I know the Raiders are going to pursue Alec Pierce. I don't know if they're going to allow him to get out of the building, right? But if Pierce lands in the open market, he can most likely get a deal upwards of $27 million annually on the open market, right? And, Pierce, George Pickens are the two top free agent wide receivers, and they're expected to sign monster contracts. But like us and the Tennessee Titans are two major teams that are in play for Pierce. Now, Pierce is coming off of a breakout season. He had 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, a 47 reception. And, he also led the league in yards per reception for the second straight year. Pierce is a deep threat, a 9-route monster. That is somebody we have not had here in a long time. He's not a diva. And he's not one of these guys where, he's like Terrell Owens or Randy Moss. He's a very good receiver, but he is a guy that doesn't have an ego out of this world, man. Now, if the Raiders were to get him, to me, that is a very, very good sign for where this offense is going to go, man. He's a dynamic deep threat. And look, he could be the number 2 option behind Brock Bowers. Now, this is the thing, man. Pierce is probably going to receive a $27 million contract right now. I don't see the Raiders getting everybody we want. Now, in Raiderland, we sit up here and we talk about, guys like Tyler Linderbaum, who I don't think Tyler Linderbaum is even going to make it to the market, right? I think they might franchise him or something like that, right? And if he does, who says Tyler Linderbaum wants to come here, right? But the two guys that I think the Raiders really have a real shot at is Devin Lloyd and Alec Pierce. And if they can get those two moves wrapped up and get them a starting lineman to mix in with the young guys that they're trying to develop, I think the Raiders would have had one of the best off seasons in recent memory. Seriously. What's up, Raider Grant? Yeah, Linderbaum sounds like a dream move for him. I mean, it is. And he definitely would increase the profile of his offensive line day one, right? I just feel like for the future of the Raiders, though, I think that one of the things that the Raiders can do, is draft well. If the Raiders draft well, that right there takes away a lot of it takes away a lot of the pressure on Mendoza. It takes a lot of pressure away on John Spytek, and it also helps the overall, growth of this team, right? Because if you got to go out there and address all your major needs in free agency, guys are going to walk. You're never going to be able to string it all together. There was a few years where the Chiefs had drafted like 95% of their roster, and they went to multiple Super Bowls where they had a bunch of guys on rookie deals who were producing at a high clip, man. At a high clip, man. And the Raiders 100%, man, getting back to Jack Bech. Bech would have been a lot further developed if Pete had played him more in the beginning and the mid part of the season. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Pete Carroll, and we could talk about this till we're blue in the face. Pete Carroll did a disservice to these young guys. You know, Pete Carroll was in a situation where he was playing the long game for what I don't know. Now, listen, I don't know how I'm going to act if I am blessed to make it to be as old as Pete Carroll is, right? But the one thing that you would probably want is to try to expedite everything because you're an older guy. And I don't see how a guy that said that they were going to turn it around in year one, why he would lean on a bunch of mediocre vets as opposed to leaning on young guys that are physically in their prime. Going out there and bringing in guys that from the scrap heap that you coached 5 or 10 years ago. It just didn't, Tyler Lockett and guys like that. It just made absolutely no sense to me. If you were going to go out and go make a move like that, you should have just kept Jacoby Meyer. Seriously, man. Danny Caps. He goes, although we have the money, the problem is, do players want to play for the Raiders? Come on. We've been a shit show for a while. I mean, it all depends on what their motivation is. Like, every player is not necessarily looking to just win, baby, right? Like, a lot of these guys are looking for who's going to give them the most money or who gives them the best situation to play, right? And to make more money. Like, there's a lot of different caveats to why people sign with different teams. There's some guys that are West Coast guys that would prefer playing for the Raiders because they can get closer to their family. There's some people that want to play in warm weather. There's some people that could consider the Raiders because they're a tax-free state. So don't sleep on the validity of the Raiders, because the Raiders have more resources to be able to allot to players than a lot of other teams do. And they have a lot of holes to be filled too. But yeah, Pete definitely hurt these guys. I don't care what anyone says. Pete hurt these guys' development. I think it's fair to say that these young guys are going to have breakout years. I think so. Do I think all of them are going to have a breakout year? No, I don't. No, I don't. I think that's unrealistic. You know what I mean? I hope my guy Dante Thornton can, tighten up on some of the route running and stuff like that, and just really, really be a force next year. What I want to see, real rap, what will make me happy is Caleb Rogers and JPJ starting, right? The Raiders going out there and getting a free agent right tackle, Smith or one of these guys, right? Or Rasheed Walker, somebody going out there and getting a Devin Lloyd, keeping Maxx in the building. That'd be cool if you can get Devin Lloyd with Maxx and going out there getting Drake Thomas, guys like that. Draft some more running backs, Eichenberg. Keep Eric Stokes, keep Jeremy Chin, build around those two guys, right? Then, hey, look, go get a backup running back for Ashton Genty, and then just cook from there, man. Just cook from there. Stoked about Eric Stokes. Spy spoke highly about him and admitted start negotiations. My deal, 3-year, $24 million, $15 million guaranteed. It makes no sense not to sign Eric Stokes. Like, the thing is, when you're like, everybody thinks that this is Madden, right? A lot of guys, I'll just get rid of Stokes, get rid of this guy, bring all new people in. But the thing is, the people that are on the market aren't better than Eric Stokes. Like, you have a good starting corner. Is he Deion Sanders? Is he Rod Woodson? Is he Charles Woodson? No. Is he a good startable corner? Yes, he is, man. Yes, he is. And that's the thing. Then you add to it. My guy, James Murray. Salute to James Murray. He's new to the channel, new to the Wasted Talent Army. At ease, soldier. At ease. Welcome, my guy. The F. I'm new to the channel. After Mendoza led my Indiana Hoosiers to a championship, I will always follow his career. Salute to my guy, James Murray. This is a Mendoza guy, and he's going to follow him on the Raiders. And, yo, we welcome all you Indiana Hoosier fans who are Mendoza fans. Come on over here to Raider Nation Unlimited. We have cookies. Oh, my God. My guy, Raider LT with the $5 slap a room. Gotta love, I got love for you, and we're the same age. But just came on here to say KRS-One is trash. Raider LT, you can get the F up out of here. I'm going to tell you who the F is trash. I mean, F up out of here. Look, like, for real, yo. The F up out of here, Raider LT. I shouldn't even have read that. You get the F up out of here. I can't believe you came up here and disrespected the teacher. You disrespected KRS-One, man, the blast master. Blasphemy. 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 You effing bum. About to be unceremoniously blocked. I mean, what the F is wrong with you? This is KRS-One we
That's
talk.
a tutorial that says you know what the fuck you doing.
My God, Raider LT. This is the blast master. One of the 5 rappers that made hip hop what it is today. I mean, how the F could you possibly disrespect KRS-One? Listen, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Chris, LL Cool J, Slick Rick. You can never disrespect KRS-One. And he's not number 1. Okay, he's sorry, he lied. He's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Better stop it with your crap. The class of 87 is goated, man. You can't disrespect them guys, man. Stokes will be a more man covered. Look, bro, we're gonna have to see, right? We gotta see. We gotta see, man. Yeah, see, Gabe, go. See, thank you. Somebody's talking some damn sanity here. Listen, don't you guys come in here with y'all little nonsensical, bum West Coast takes on hip hop. Y'all are being disrespectful, yo. Y'all are being disrespectful. You're being disrespectful. Look, man, there's a lot of great artists on the West Coast. There's a lot of guys that set the table if we're going to start talking about hip hop. There's a lot of guys. There's the Too Shorts of the world, bro. There's everybody from NWA, right? All of them guys, man. Spice One and guys like that I rock, like Quick, all them guys. I rock with them guys. Like, Ice-T is a guy that I don't disrespect Ice. I don't call Ice whack because for his time, Ice-T was the man in his time. I'm not going to call KRS-One whack because in 1987, he took hip hop to another level, man. You can't, like all jokes to the side. If you say that KRS-One is whack, I question your knowledge about hip hop. I really do, bro. Like I'm going to be real with you. Right now, I don't want to hear a KRS-One record right now. I don't want to hear a KRS-One record right now. But back in the day, KRS-One was the man, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to sit up here and set trip on some hip hop shit. We're not doing that. This guy talking about the West Coast is the best coast. That's debatable. I don't know about all of that. I mean, let's give everybody their respect and their praise. There's a lot of great people from all over. But yo, never forget where hip hop started. The South mother effing Bronx, Jersey, New York, and the skating rinks and the parks. Don't disrespect, bro. Don't disrespect, man. And no Jay-Z slander will be tolerated in my chat. You would never disrespect Hove in my chat. You get the F up out of here with your crap. You guys are really on one right now. Indiana Raider with the $10 slapper room wasted. I don't want to get you off topic, but your thoughts on the sweet science of boxing was fire. I'm a boxing dude too, and will want you to drop more heat on the boxing game. Yeah, man. Look, the boxing thing, right? My younger brother and I are putting something together. Like my brother has a boxing gym. And me and my brother are going to get together. And we're thinking about, partnering up. And we are thinking about, having a boxing pod once a month. My brother is a great boxing trainer. My nephew, national champ. A lot of pro fighters. My brother's done trained 2 or 3 pro fighters. I got a lot of connections in the boxing game. A boxing program would be great. The thing is this, right? I'm trying to decide how I'm going to get that started, how we're going to go about it, how frequent I'm going to be with it. But the boxing program is definitely going to start this year. 100%, man. Yo, Jamba Juice to the gulags. No Jay-Z slander will be tolerated in my chat. And pun was definitely nice. Pun was nice. Rudy, you get the F up out of here too. Don't you ever disrespected God MC, Jehovah. Get up out of here. Up out of here. And listen, I love Nas and I love Hov. Don't disrespect Hov, man. Stop it. Yo, my guy got it. Wasted looking like he in the black hole. Oh my God. You gotta chill, bro. You gotta chill. You have got to chill. Why you throw me under the bus? The F is wrong with you, Halo. The F is wrong with you. Joey Cheek, Wasted. Give a shout out to my son who's a member, yo. Scooney, my dog. Salute. Salute, bro. Salute to the son of Joey Cheek. Oh my God. But let's really let's get into this football stuff. Let's get back to it, man. Let's get back to it. And Jay-Z never stole nobody's raps, bro. Listen, man. Like he said, bro, I'm not a biter. I'm a writer for myself and others. I say a big verse. I'm only bigging up my brother. Come on, man. Stop that, bro. I mean, how many people quote Jay-Z? That's what great rappers do. They quote each other, man. I mean, Pac used to quote people's stuff. Like Jay quoted people's stuff. Big quoted people's stuff. Like, it is what it is, man. Stop that. Stop it. And everybody talk like it's funny, man. When you see a brother reach that level of success, somehow, some way he had to sell his soul to get there. Why can't he be great? Why don't nobody say Eminem sold his soul? Why don't nobody ever say 50 Cent sold his soul? Why Hov got to be the one to sell his soul? He says 50 ended. That 50 Cent ain't never in. What you talking about? Let me tell you something, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. Y'all want to start talking about football, about rap? 50 Cent to me is the most overrated rapper I've ever heard, bro. 50 Cent to me has always been fucking garbage. 50 Cent is garbage. Like his mixtapes were good, but as an MC, 50 Cent is trash, bro. And I've never seen somebody who claims to be ending people that gets wrecked like that motherfucker. I've never, ever seen that guy really win a battle. You talking about, you know, a guy like Ja Rule, where you criticize him for singing and you took his style. Like 50 Cent got dismantled by D Block. Cam beat him in a battle. Jay put his ashes out on his head. I don't want to hear nothing about 50 Cent. And now, you know what I'm saying, he's going to try to meme his way out of this battle with T.I. I don't want to hear that crap. I don't want to hear that. Go get in the booth and make a song, bro. All of that comedy and making parodies of people, that shit weak. Just like when Rick Ross was on his head. He ain't rap his way out of that. I don't want to hear that shit, man. Let's talk some football, man. I don't want to talk no hip-hop. Y'all not ready for no hip-hop talk right now. Y'all not ready. Y'all can't talk no hip-hop on the level right here. Let's talk some ball, man. Hey, Shiz Raider, man. This is what you can do. You can shut your ass up. You don't tell me what the F to do in my damn chat. You don't want to listen to it. You get the F up at it.
Real looking smelly bitch, motherfucker. You got me fucked up.
Don't tell me what the F to do, Shiz Raider. The F is wrong with you. If I want to talk rap, I'll talk rap. If I want to talk ball, I'll talk ball. You can get the F up out of here with your crap. The F you think you talking to? Oh, my bad, Shiz Raider. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. And Bodega, you know what I agree with? I agree with blocking your punk ass. That's what I agree with. That's what I agree with, Bodega. Where you at? I don't want to block the wrong person. Let me make sure, because I'm on my laptop here. I'm on location. Let me put you in timeout, you effing bum. Get the F up out of here. So, all right, let's get back to it. This is Raider Nation Unlimited. It's a place where you get blocked for getting out of pocket. That's what the F this is. Said which show this is. It's a place where you get your ass blocked.
Man, you a bitch. You a bitch.
The effing show this is. Now you guys done woke me up. The F is wrong with you guys. I mean, my God. You guys are in here with your crap. You guys done went completely off the rails here. Completely. So, guys, let's get back to it, right? So when we start talking about, you know, what the Raiders are going to do, we've heard what's about to happen to Geno. Geno is about to be released, right? The thing for me is that, look, man, no matter what the Raiders do, right? I think that bringing in a brand new quarterback resets the timeline for everybody. So we need to start really, really talking about, yeah, that's right, Rudy. Let that be a lesson to you. Let that be a lesson to you. That's right. I sent you to the gulags, Jamba Juice. You let that be a lesson to you too. That's right. Your crap, Jamba Juice. That same stale juice. Everybody gets a trip to the gulags. Your crap. Ayo Anthony's free too, yo. Salute to all of y'all. Rudy's back in place. Rudy did a stretch again, man. Sent Anthony back to the gulags again. So, guys, right? Look, yo. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Yo, Top Beat sent you to the gulags. That's what you get. I've been sending so many people to the gulags. I don't know who the F did it. The mod father himself sent you there. Top Beats is my first mod, bro. Jay-Z is the bub like wasted. I done lost my train of thought. You guys know I'm old. You guys got to get the F up out of here. But look, let's get back into it, right? There are a lot of free agents that are going to be out there, right? There are a lot of teams that have some stuff going on that from a salary cap perspective is massive, right? The 49ers and Trent Williams have an issue again. Now, they're at a contractual stalemate, guys, because Trent Williams has a huge number, a huge cap number, $39 million coming up. And the 49ers can't function with that contract, right? And Adam Schefter reported that Williams and the Niners are struggling to find a contractual solution. John Lynch is trying to kind of put the fire out. If the two sides can't bridge their differences, Williams would be expected to join this year's free agent class, guys. And that would make him one of the premier players available, right? And that puts the Niners in a tough spot, right? Because he's 37 years old. He's still probably the best left tackle in football, but he's out of guaranteed money on his current deal. And a player with less talent would normally see the chopping block, but this guy is going to walk into the Hall of Fame. You know, first ballot. I mean, you know what? Nowadays, you never know. Guys that are supposed to be first ballot Hall of Famers just don't go now, right? But according to Over the Cap, the 49ers would save $25 to $26 million if he was a post-June 1st designation. And Williams is not just the best lineman on their roster. He's the best lineman on any roster, right? This is the thing, right? Is this a guy that, with the Raiders having all of the cap space that they have, is this a guy that you would bring in? I'm just asking. I know a lot of people are saying no ways to get the F up out of here, right? Would you bring in a 37-year-old Trent Williams and let Charles Grant be the heir apparent? I'm asking. What do you guys think? I got to ask these things. I got to call it like I see it. I'm asking you guys. 37 years old. Dave Walker says no ways to know. Goes, I'd rather take Pooney instead of Trent. He's younger. So I'm asking you guys. Look, this is not something that I think is going to happen. I don't think the Raiders are going in that direction. We are not a Trent Williams away from winning. People say he's cooked. I don't think Trent Williams is cooked. I don't think he's cooked. But my thing is this, right? Is that somebody that you would think about? Raider Dolph says yes. He goes, we can still give us time to grow other linemen. Chris Wilson says, heck no. What position does Colton go to? See, that's the problem, right? Now, Colton Miller is younger than Trent. He is nowhere near as good. He is a left tackle as well. He played right tackle in college. I don't necessarily think this late in his career he would be willing to make that switch. I think Colton Miller, if he could stay healthy, has maybe one more contract left in him, and he would make more money being a left tackle than a right tackle. Right? But is that somebody that you would think about bringing in at 37 years old? Now, look, the thing for me is this, right? I like talking about free agent fits, man. Free agent fits for the Raiders that makes sense. We do this every night, you know, but it's something that I freaking love to do, man. It really is, man. Now, look, we can talk about some of the guys like, you know, that the Raiders, you know, have some kind of relationship with, right? But you have guys out there like Zion Johnson. You know, he's not the best, but to me, he is a young guy that you take a flyer on that has his best football ahead of him. Now, when you start talking about what kind of free agents wasted talent likes, right? And I'm just speaking just for me. I am a guy who loves to bring in free agents who have not played their best football yet. That is exactly the guy that I am when you start talking about free agents, man. I am all about bringing in guys that have not really played their best ball yet. You know, and Zion Johnson is definitely one of those guys, man. He is one of those guys. Now, look, there's so many unrestricted free agents right now. There are certain guys like Breece Hall that I would love the Raiders to take a flyer on. I'm hearing that the Jets might franchise him, which is a little weird to me. But when we start talking about free agents, of course, we mentioned Alec Pierce earlier in the show, right? Jalen Watson from the Chiefs. That's a guy to bring in. It all depends on the price point. You know, Jalen Watson's a decent corner. He's a startable corner, and he'd be weakening the Kansas City Chiefs. Jamal Dean is another corner that I'll bring in. Really aggressive young corner. I like Jamal Dean. I'm sure John Spytek has papers on him. That would be a guy to keep an eye on. Rashid Shaheed is a guy that, you know, Clint Kubiak had in you know, with Seattle. He could be a kick returner, punt returner. He has, you know, dual use for the Raiders. He can improve our special teams and he can improve our wide receiver room. To me, that's a no-brainer bringing in him. That is a no-brainer. I mentioned earlier Rasheed Walker. If you really want to bring a starter in and you believe in, say, for instance, you go out there and you get a center, right? Or you draft a center. And Jackson Powers-Johnson is one guard. Caleb Rogers is another guard. You go out there and you take a guy like Rasheed Walker and make him your starting right tackle and forget about it. Now you got a terrific line. Boye Mafe from Seattle Seahawks, you know, is another guy that the Raiders are familiar with that they can bring in and help that pass rush out. You know, he's a guy that really hasn't lived up to the dream just yet. But, you know, Leo Chanel is another guy. It'd be addition by subtraction to the Chiefs. Man, there's so many young guys out there. Bringing a guy like Elijah Vera Tucker if you're going to leave JPJ at center. And Elijah Vera Tucker can play some center as well, right? But I would probably want it to be, I would probably want it to be my guy, right? Odafe Owe is another guy, man, that I definitely would kick the tires on. Kalavion Chasen, man. I mean, there's so many young players, man. Alex and Lazone from the Detroit Lions, man. That is a guy that you could outfit that linebacker room with. There's so many guys out there, man. I mean, so many. And it's crazy when I see guys like Greg Van Roten and Jermaine Illuminor out there that the Raiders had in the building that played better when they left, right? I probably wouldn't go that route. Greg Van Roten is a guy that I would bring in as a backup if the price was right. Mike Hilton, a little long in the tooth, but I would kick the tires on him. There's just a lot of guys out there, man. Rashad White, it will be a good backup for our guy, Ashton Genty. You know, there are a lot of young guys out there, man, that you can bring in. Learn this from me. Yo, watch JPJ excel at center now with the massive Carol chip. I hope, bro, like from your lips to God's ears. I hope so, man. I freaking hope so, man. I hope so. My guy Alpha Omega, East Coast in the effing building. Wasted talent. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, share, and subscribe. Get this out to others, man. I appreciate you, my brother. I mean, how many free agents can we actually sign? The Raiders can sign a substantial amount of free agents, man. They have to structure the contracts. But like all of these free agents that are out here are not going to break the bank. And you're not going to sign. Some of the guys that you're looking at on this list are guys that might get signed, and then other people that might be a fit will be available late in free agency. There's like that first wave of free agency, and then there's always that second wave of free agency. That second wave of free agency really builds your roster. Guys that you didn't expect to get cut, post June 1st designations, guys like that. So, you know, the first wave of free agency, man, I think the Raiders can go out there and really go crazy, man. The Raiders can really go out there and really go crazy, man. Do I really want to keep Kuntz? No. I don't think the risk of Malcolm Kuntz is worth it. I don't. I think that, you know, Malcolm Kuntz, the idea of Malcolm Kuntz was great when he was a guy that you drafted. But for me to have to sign him in free agency to keep him, I am okay with letting him walk out the door. I'm okay with letting him walk out the door. That's my personal opinion. I'm okay. From a PR standpoint, we can bring Mack in a 1-2 year deal to play opposite. Bro, I think the Khalil Mack situation has sailed. I think the Chargers are probably going to keep Khalil Mack. I personally don't want to bring in a guy like Khalil Mack and have to depend on him, especially when you got such a young team. I am okay with not bringing Khalil Mack back unless you get him. If he's sitting out there twisted in the wind and you can get him for a great price, or if you go and you go get a Ode, you know, or a Mafe or a guy like that, and then you can add Khalil Mack to that mix late in free agency, then I can see you bring Khalil Mack back. But with Khalil Mack being a little long in the tooth, you know that you're going to lose him for some time throughout the season. That's just going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, if for him to play 16 games would be great, but you can't depend on guys that are over 34 years old to play every single game. And look, if Kuntz balls out somewhere else, he does. But I was always under the estimation that they should have kept Kalavion Chasen. And I know a lot of that was Kalavion Chasen's own doing. Seriously. But the thing is, I don't want to have the rate of recidivism flu. Like, I'm kind of good on that. I'm kind of good on that. And yo, Jamba, how you gonna send me to the gulags on my own show? I mean, what the F? I mean, what the F? What? Jamba, what the F are you talking about? How you sending me to the gulags, man? Why you doing me dirty like that, bro? Jamba, the floor is yours, my man. Jamba Juice, come to the front of the congregation. Jamba Juice, where are you? You effing bum you. Come to the front of the congregation, Jamba. I mean, right now, I'm actually in the gulag. He said, dude says recidivism on the show full directly by kind of good. What the F? Look, I brought up Kwity Paye yesterday. And a couple of days ago. And I like the connection, the Michigan connection. I like the connection. Kwity Paye's a guy. The only way I bring in Khalil Mack is if I bring in two young, legit developmental pass rushers to go along with Maxx and Khalil. So you can have kind of that, you know, 4-man pass rush situation. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. I want you do what you do. Appreciate you, bro. How do you get sent to the gulags on your own show, man? I don't know. I'm telling you, if anything can happen, it could be the Wasted Talent show, man. That's what happens, man. But listen, yo, Bodega Raider says 11's about to pop out of the background. Like, what a terrible show, Wasted. Oh, man, Bodega, man. We never knew ye, man. Salute. The F up out of here with your crap. Yo, T Nipple says, ban UA Mel. He ain't even in the street. You leave UA Mel alone. It's a good guy. But look, guys, I think it's about time to reel this in, pull a train into the train station. This has been another Raider Nation Unlimited. We talked about the presser. We talked about free agents. I mean, bro, there's not a whole lot out there. We are going to see what happens all throughout the NFL Combine. We will be getting back to you guys all week. You guys have a terrific night. Listen, this is what we do, man. Every night we will be here rocking and rolling for you guys, man. We'll be here every night rocking and rolling. Wasted, you see the short where Coach JB called Mendoza soft? No, I didn't. But bro, like, I'm gonna be real with you. There are guys in this. Coach JB knows football. I don't like talking about other creators and stuff. And you know, he is a very knowledgeable guy. He has his very strong opinions, but I think that Coach JB has figured out the algorithm, and the algorithm is to say outlandish, bombastic things and be unapologetic. I mean, listen, if you look at the biggest guy in this space in sports, is Stephen A. Smith. He's made a career of doing that, and Skip Bayless and a whole bunch of people, Ryan Clark. I think that Coach JB's grifting a little bit. And saying that he won't throw at the combine is asinine. The number one pick don't got to throw at the combine. Why would the number one pick throw at the combine when he could just throw at his pro day? Why would you lose money? What's higher than number one? If you got something to work for, if you got somebody that's on nipping on your heels, that's different. If you got a situation where people don't know who's going to be the number one guy, you come here and you throw. If it's a stone cold lead pipe fact that you're going to be taking number one, it makes no sense to throw at the combine. And anybody that says anything different than that is just a grifter, and they want to poke holes in what Fernando Mendoza's got going on. The one thing that Fernando Mendoza is not, he's a polite gentleman. He's a good kid. But the one thing he's not is soft. I mean, it's money. You've been saying you think it's a reach drafting Mendoza. Bro, you got the number one pick. He's the best guy on the board. You take him. For years, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the Raiders to effing go on ahead and draft a quarterback. And this year, we got a chance to do it, and you guys don't want. Like, I don't understand. Like, yo, how many times have we got to go bring in somebody else's garbage and for it to not work out? I got to get the F up out of here, man. I'm not going to talk about this. It's time. It is time. It's time. It's time. And I don't give a damn what you guys say. It's time. Salute to you guys. Salute to you guys, man. Have a good night. We're taking Fernando Mendoza, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. What the F are you talking about? You about to get backpedaled into the gulags, you effing bum. Everybody wanted the number one pick. We got it. Now y'all don't want to take the fucking guy. The F is up with you guys, man. Listen, take the kid like your life depended on it. Build a team around him and stop with the crap. Listen, I'm going to tell you guys something. In the great words of Ric Flair, whether you like it or love it, learn to live with it. Because Fernando Mendoza going number one to the Raiders is the best thing going today. Get the F out of here. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.